Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is 6 p.m. Monday evening, July 8th, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I would really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys, so we can build this weather community in time for the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October, so that we can keep everyone safe this season. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you have yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that there's still no new era of possible tropical cyclone development within the next 7 days, but we still have Beryl right there across the eastern portions of Texas in the United States. If we take a closer look at her info, we can see her right here, definitely getting ready to push to the northeast, and she's currently packing maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour, which makes her a bona fide tropical storm. And we can still see her tropical storm force winds right there in the gold colors, definitely around her center as well as off to her south and east. And there's still a tropical storm warning for sections of the southeastern Texas coastline right there. She's expected to become a tropical depression, so she's gonna decrease in strength as she continues to push northeastward, across the central into the northern portion of the United States, possibly ending up into Canada. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that that tropical wave that was to the east of the Caribbean has now pushed off to the west of there. We see that the other tropical wave that was closer to the Cape Verde or the Cabo Verde Islands is now pushed off to the west of there. No more almost equidistance between the Caribbean and Africa, and we can still see that the entire Atlantic basin is being dominated by region 5 pressure that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean, not to mention all the tropical waves and the Saharan dust off of Africa. All of these just have to go west in the easterlies, all contributed by the region 5 pressure. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can still see the clouds associated with the tropical that was lashing portions of Jamaica over the weekend, still affecting portions of Central America. The clouds associated with the tropical wave that was affecting portions of the Eastern Caribbean yesterday, now pushing off to the west right there, affecting portions of Puerto Rico and the waters to the south of there. And we can see a lot of clouds associated with the intertropical convergent zone squashed right there across the southern main development region. And we know the intertropical convergent zone is where all the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and we have more rising air showers and thunderstorms taking place, and all of this usually ends up into the northern portion of South America, so Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia as usual. Alright, so let's just switch gears and focus on what was predicted in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated that we would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica. Then would have had some rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes during Monday afternoon. And for your information, you know, eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey. So Portland, Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Thomas. Central parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex. So St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, you know, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? I live in St. Thomas, and I definitely got in on some of that isolated shower activity in the morning, as a post was made here on our Twitter page, and it highlighted the visible satellite images that came out at 11:55, and we definitely saw the flow of clouds coming in from the east to affect sections of the eastern portion of the island. So section of St. Thomas, section of Portland might have gotten on a few isolated shower activity. I definitely got in on some isolated shower activity in my spot, and it definitely confirmed what was predicted for sure. By the way, this post was made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. They're also made on our Instagram page at Weather Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. Alright, so we saw that another post was made highlighting clouds building across where sections of some more so western parishes than the central parishes. Yes, we had some clouds building across some central parishes, but it wasn't as robust or anything like that at that time. That time was around what, if not, yes, 4:51 p.m. Definitely, and we definitely saw some thunderstorms taking shape or starting to build across sections of Westmoreland and northwestern St. Elizabeth. But as for the corporate era, halfway through camp, definitely in the clear today. This is about 12:20 p.m. We saw that it was sunnier than anything else. People going about their business and doing whatever they are supposed to, or whatever is on their to-do list. But as it relates to what the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology's accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours shows, it makes sense that the most in the way of rainfall is definitely across sections of Westmoreland, northwestern St. Elizabeth, and even that here across sections of central Jamaica, where we have the line of clouds, as we can see it right here on the latest visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down. There we have the line of clouds across sections of some central parishes. Maybe some isolated showers might have taken place. Then we have the pile up of clouds bringing the thunderstorm activity starting to build across sections of Westmoreland, northwestern St. Elizabeth right there. And we definitely had some thunderstorms in there. If we check the latest infrared satellite images that just came out at about, let's see, 55 minutes past the hour. So about 5:55, considering that the time is now 6:06. So these are the latest infrared satellite images, and we see the thunderstorms as represented by the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges, reds, not to mention the sparkling white dots that indicate some amount of lightning flashes, if not lightning strikes. Definitely lashing sections of northwestern St. Elizabeth, sections of Westmoreland as we speak. And the Cuban Doppler radar images confirm the rainfall that we're currently experiencing across those spots. We see the greens, the yellows, even some reds in there, lashing portions of western Jamaica right now. As of the latest image, the 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time image, which is actually the 6 p.m. Jamaica time image. So this definitely came out 7 minutes ago. It's on the ball. As it relates to the temperatures right now, we can see we're 28 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Tuesday. And we see Jamaica right here embedded in some grays and some slight yellow colors that we can see by the key on the right. That represents anywhere from average in the 0 to slightly above average temperatures in the yellows. And we know the average temperatures for the month of July across Jamaica are about 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 91 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.7 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. And as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, we see that there's a nice little vigorous plume coming in from the east. As we can see, the darker shades of browns that's already affecting portions, well, that should already be affecting portions of the Eastern Caribbean by that time. Jamaica right here, not getting much of the vigorous plume as yet, but it's definitely gonna be here by Wednesday. You can see the lighter shades of brown here, not so vigorous as we speak, but it could definitely get there, causing hazy skies, not to mention triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses, sinusitis, asthma, whatever the case may be in some persons. So please ensure that you have your meds handy. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, it still makes sense that majority of the Caribbean should be getting on those blues that represent anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter wave height, while the waters to the south of Jamaica, well, to the far south of the island, should be getting on those purples, those 2 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds are going to be strongest to the south of the island, averaging anywhere from 20 to 25 knots in the yellows, and we see the greens across majority of the basin averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots, and we see the general direction across the Caribbean coming in from the east. But if we take a closer look at Jamaica in terms of the wind forecast, we can definitely see that the winds, yes, are coming in from the east, but where's all of the air going to be piling up? Possibly still across inland areas of some central and western parishes, maybe northern parishes more so than the southern parishes. We know wherever we have the least amount of winds, that's where we're going to be having all of that air piling up, cumulus clouds becoming medium level rain clouds, if not cumulonimbus thunderstorm clouds. And we know what usually happens. The diurnal convection causes afternoon isolated rainfall to sections of those parishes out in central Jamaica, if not western Jamaica. And whatever comes off of the sea from the east should possibly affect portions of eastern Jamaica with some amount of isolated showers. That's if it actually gets there. But what are the maps forecasting? Alright, so we can see that as early as 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 6 a.m. Jamaica time. Where do we see the blues that represent rainfall? Some of it definitely offshore to the north coast of the island, maybe brushing the north coast more so on the GFS, maybe section of St. Anne, St. Mary, St. James, maybe section of Sri Lanka getting in on the mix. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, without the marine consensus that it should be raining out to sea by that time. Skipping ahead to about 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's actually 11 a.m. Jamaica time. Where do we see the consensus for the blues that represent rainfall across section of Portland, section of St. Thomas right there. Then by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we see the consensus that yes, section of St. Thomas and Portland should still be getting in on some rainfall. But the Euro and the GFS are showing some rainfall across sections of the west. The GFS more so across northwestern Jamaica with Hanover, St. James, Trelawney in the mix. Maybe a section of northern Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth, and section of Westmoreland in the mix. Euro showing those spots getting in on the rainfall, but it's starting to incorporate more of some central parishes. But we don't see that on both the Euro and the GFS malls. So we have to take this forecast with a grain of salt because there's some contrast, there's some disagreement. But we do see that all of them are in definite agreement that eastern Jamaica should be picking up the most in the way for rainfall tomorrow. So it makes sense that the accumulated precipitation forecast has the most rainfall totals across eastern Jamaica, with the yellows up to 0.16 of an inch, maybe more across eastern Jamaica on the Euro. GFS up to 0.14 of an inch, but it's definitely up to more than that, maybe up to 0.4 of an inch of rainfall. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we see that some spots of the island should be getting on some rainfall, lighter shades of greens on the Euro, GFS, some yellows out west. We'll see how that goes. Either way, we're going to be in for some amount of rainfall somewhere across the island tomorrow. We're in our dry season, as a matter of fact. We're in July. As you can see, the bar graph at the top shows Kingston and the rainfall that they receive in millimeters per year. The bar graph at the bottom shows Montego Bay and the rainfall that we receive in inches per year. So you can do the math regarding the rainfall. As we can see, this map here does the breakdown from inches to millimeters, so you can do the working out. But we can see that we usually receive less rainfall in July than what we would receive in June as well as August. And we'll definitely take all the rainfall that we can get tomorrow somewhere across the island, so we can do something about the heat that we're definitely experiencing in this, well, today in general. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the clouds associated with the tropical wave starting to come into portions of the central Caribbean. All of this definitely pushing westward, so Jamaica could definitely be affected by some of its rainfall later this week. We can see the clouds associated with the tropical wave still affecting portions of Central America right now. An upper level low pressure still right there to the east of Florida. Lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms with it. The clouds associated with tropical storm Beryl getting ready to push northeastward across the central to the northern United States. And a lot of clouds across portions of northern South America, as usual, associated with the intertropical convergent zone. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can see that they have somewhat of isolated showers here and there, some hit or miss showers more than anything else. Some across sections of the southeastern portion of the Dominican Republic, sections of the northeastern Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, sections of the Leeward Islands getting on some hit or miss showers. But if we put these radar images into motion, we can definitely see where we had that rainfall today. Definitely across sections of central and western Puerto Rico, especially western Puerto Rico, we had those yellows and oranges. And we definitely had some rainfall across section of Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, as well as the US and British Virgin Islands. But as of right now, we see that most of it has died down for the most part. Only some isolated spots of rainfall here and there. As it relates to what is going on right now on the Barbados radar, we can see some rainfall coming in from the east, northeast, to affect sections of Barbados this evening into tonight. More so isolated shores than anything else. Nothing really going on right now across the Trinidad and Tobago area, but maybe a section of St. Vincent and the Grenadines might pick up some isolated shores. Some rainfall definitely in store for sections of Martinique, maybe even section of St. Lucia as well. If we take a look at the weather wave Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall across northern Guatemala, section of Mexico, some rainfall right there to the east of the Yucatan Peninsula. You can also see some rainfall right there across section of northwestern Venezuela, eastern Colombia, as well as sections of French Guyana, as well as to the northeast of there too. But as it relates to all the rainfall that's expected within the next 24 hours, keep in mind that both of these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the spots that are going to be picking up the most in the way of rainfall within the next 24 hours. So here is where we see the greens up to the yellows that represent what? Up to 0.2 of an inch, up to 0.75 of an inch. So definitely sections of Hispaniola, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, sections of Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Venezuela, Suriname, Guyana, French Guyana, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador, sections of Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, as well as the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, and even some isolated spots of rainfall across sections of Cuba and the Cayman Islands too. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.